ya kwamba I made the right choice pamoja na voji na kiangula kana vetu yandarapeta busha bendera kwa Meru County kabinta na waziri na bado sijakosa matumaini. Mimi jikindane nake baraka kama karanja. Hapana, uko kwa serikali ndani kabisa. Uingereza waziri kulinda milango serikali ya mama ni kubwa sana. Karandene kabwacha kamweka kuweka na yale acha wana yale huko nyama wana sio mjumbe andikala gavana wenu ni Georgia mjumbe na alikaka kile mlango joto waziri wa county akawa waziri wa national government. Bwana sifiwe. Ukana kutika make na ujite wajiri tano na wakulikana kawina kambije wajiri antokeleza lakini kwa mane murongo na wajiri karibu watiro na mkari
the last one, Annex 20.
na serikali ya mama iko imara. Wewe ni wakawea wewe ndio ni baraka ile kando wewe wote ni tekadea.
Mr. Speaker, what you see there, I've translated those videos from Kimeru to English, is the governor first of all trashing the exercise that was conducting by this house of looking at the various CECs that the governor nominated, and trashing the honorable members by saying, for example, she is going to pick Caste Mecheni and bring her to Egoji West where she was contesting for MCA, so that she can create this discomfort to the sitting member of the county assembly, and she will empower her to ensure that the honorable member of that area is nothing. This is someone who is cancelling the results of the elections, Mr. Speaker, of 2018 by saying that this is the one who should have been elected, Mr. Speaker. The government is again breaking the law by directing Caste to go picking children who should be rewarded with bursaries, Mr. Speaker, of 10,000 shillings each, and submit the list to the governor so that she can give the bursaries. Mr. Speaker, bursaries of this county are given by the law. The Retention Enhancement Fund Act of 2016 provides that a committee shall be formed of various people, that is to sit down and look at the application forms for bursaries and decide which children should be given bursaries and how much. It's not the governor to decide how much. It's not the governor to decide who. It's that committee that has been mandated by the law. It's not the chiefs or the castes of this world who the governor is giving mandates to go around collecting children to be given bursaries, Mr. Speaker, to do that. It's the work of the Enhancement Retention Fund. And I would like, Mr. Speaker, to communicate even to those who are being given directions to carry them, Mr. Speaker. They are putting themselves on the side of the law, and they can be sued, Mr. Speaker, for doing for wrongful things, Mr. Speaker, and they can be punished by the law. Mr. Speaker, the governor has not stopped there. She went on and discarded the provisions of the County Assembly's Approval Act of 2016 on what is supposed to happen when the names of appointees from our office are rejected by the County Assembly. Mr. Speaker, you cannot collapse the government like she did. You cannot reduce the ministries like she did. You can only, Mr. Speaker, collapse them before bringing the names, so that you bring the specific names of the 6 that you have collapsed them to. You bring 6 names. Not after the assembly, Mr. Speaker, has rejected the names that you go compress the ministries to 6. It's circumventing the law, Mr. Speaker, and the provisions of the Public Appointments and Account Approval Act of 2017, Mr. Speaker. Number 10 reads as follows. Where the name of a candidate is rejected by a county assembly, the appointing authority shall submit to the county assembly the name of another candidate, and the procedure for approval specified in this act shall apply accordingly. A nominating authority shall not submit the name of a candidate whose nomination has been rejected by the county assembly unless the circumstances relied on for the rejection of the appointment of the candidate did not exist or cease to exist at the time of rejecting the nomination of the candidate. Mr. Speaker, inasmuch as the law has not stipulated when she should resubmit the names, it should have either stayed as 3, the others to stay as vacant, not collapsing. It's circumventing the law. When you collapse to 6, it means you're not going to submit, and then you lump offices together, Mr. Speaker. So it's breaking the law, Mr. Speaker, and for the governor of this county to follow the law, Mr. Speaker, I think we need to use her to set an example to the other governors, Mr. Speaker, because our current governor, the Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, is not keen on following the law or doing the right things, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, an organized process called public participation involves consulting with the people, institutions, and groups before making choices. It is intended to give the voiceless a voice and solidify the idea of an agency for the county government, making it an agent of the people. As a result, the County Assembly of Meru adopts the following forms of public participation: informing the public by providing information to help them understand the issues, options, and solutions; consulting with the public to obtain their feedback and alternatives or decisions; involving the public to ensure their concerns are considered throughout the decision-making process, particularly in the development of decision criteria and options; collaborating with the public to develop decision criteria and alternatives and identify the preferred solutions; empowering the public by placing final decision-making authority in their hands. Article 1 of the Constitution states that the sovereign power belongs to the people, and Article 10(2)(a) and 4th Schedule Part 2(14) of the Constitution of Kenya and is stipulated as a function of the county government. Article 118(1)(b) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 also provides that Parliament should facilitate public participation in the business of the Parliament and its committees. Article 196 of the Constitution provides that the County Assembly should conduct its businesses in an open manner in public sections, in open manner in public. Section 87 to 92 and 115 of the County Governments Act 2012 outline the principles of public participation and the imperative for facilitating public participation in the work of the county government. In this regard, the Office of the Clerk came up with a public participation schedule to get the views of the public in respect to the motion to impeach the Governor of Meru, the Honorable Bishop Kawira Mwangaza, over the 16 sub-counties of Meru County. Upon developing a schedule, the same was published in the national newspapers in circulation in the country, Standard and Nation, on the 7th December 2022, in time to allow members of the public to prepare and attend the public participation process. The published schedule showing the venue in which the public participation will take place in the published Meru County sub-counties. Mr. Speaker, sir, the following sub-counties in Meru are published as the areas where public participation will take place on the 13th of December 2022. Egoji Sub-County, Department Office Egoji, Abogeta Sub-County, Sub-County Headquarters Kanyakine, Mkwene Sub-County, Shabaa Stadium Mkobo, Central Imenti Sub-County, AIPCA St. Matthews Mariene, Imenti East Sub-County, Kianikamwani Kadura, Imenti North Sub-County, Kianjore Youth Center, Bore East Sub-County, Kirwa Katodip, Bore West Sub-County, Kambi EAPC, Tigania West Sub-County, Kirindene Social, Tigania East, Maburo Methodist Church, Tigania Central, Kibucho Methodist Church, Igembe East Sub-County, Methodist Church Kiengo, Igembe Central Sub-County, Machungulu Social, Igembe South Sub-County, Gitora EAPC Church, Igembe North Sub-County, Global Abundant Church, Muringeni. And lastly, Mutuati Sub-County, Inono Market. Mr. Speaker, sir, thereafter, the public process took place at different sub-counties on the 13th of December 2022. Various officers of the County Assembly of Meru informed the public on the contents of the notice of motion to impeach the governor as listed below. Nepotism, illegal appointments, unlawful dismissals, and the usurpation of the constitution and statutory functions of the county organs, incitement, bullying, vilification, and misleading campaigns against other leaders, forceful entry into the assembly precincts and mobilization of unlawful riots against members of the assembly, unlawful riots against members of the county assembly, violation of public finance management laws, misconduct relating to the nomination of CECs. The citizens' representatives from each sub-locations in Meru sub-counties were requested to present their views regarding the motion to impeach the governor of Meru. More to that, there was impressive turnout at various sub-counties in Meru County, as evidence at the public participation by the attached list of participants. Additionally, some participants forwarded their opinions in form of written memoranda. Other members of the public dropped their memoranda before the date of the public participation. Further, some members of the public forwarded their views to the county on the County Assembly public participation email, which reads publicparticipationmeru@gmail.com. Mr. Speaker, sir, divergent views were heard on the stage by the members of the public. Just to sample a few, the following common views were presented by the members supporting and opposing the motion to impeach the governor of Meru County. About 1,300 residents of different sub-counties registered to orally give their views in supporting or opposing the impeachment motion. 1. Views of the members of the public supporting the motion to impeach Governor of the Meru County, Kawira Mwangaza. Members of the public supported the motion and many cited the following grounds: alleged nepotism displayed by the governor by employing her relatives, such as the sister as a personal assistant and another sister as a bodyguard; alleged reappointment of Rufus Miriti as the county secretary without following the proper procedure of reemployment; alleged misconduct of the governor amounting to violation of various sections of the constitution; nepotism, discrimination of officers of the county government of Meru offices; lack of decorum and respect to other elected leaders; removal of various officers from office illegally. The governor is alleged to run the county affairs on Okolea Kitty, according to the members of the public, and turning the county into one woman and husband show. The governor is alleged to have incited the citizens of Meru County against other leaders. The governor is alleged to have incited the public against the cabinet secretary for agriculture, medical, and tourism public in Rare, in Maua, in Maua. The governor is alleged, in Rare, in North, Igembe North. The governor is alleged to have accused members of the county assembly of Meru by calling them cartels. The governor is alleged to have accused members of the county assembly of Meru and other elected leaders of greed, corruption, and intimidation. The governor is alleged to have appointed persons in the Meru Municipal Board on the 21st of October at Meru Stadium without following the required procedures and laws. This is because one member said. This is because members of the Municipal Board were gazetted in the Kenya Gazette on the 7th of December 2018. The governor is alleged to have proposed politicians who vied for the MCA seat and lost as members of the county assembly in various wards. An example is alleged by the appointment of Castle in Negoju East Ward and somebody by the name of Tirum in Aboget. The governor is alleged to have forced several members of the County Assembly of Meru to apologize in public. An example is the member of County Assembly for Akede Ward. The governor is alleged to have not initiated any developments in several ones in Meru County so far. The governor was alleged to be incompetent and lacking leadership qualities. The governor was alleged to have not utilized public funds in the right manner. The governor is alleged to have not understood and acknowledged the other leaders who were chosen by voters in Meru County. The governor is alleged to frustrate the process of reconciliation between her and the MCAs. The governor is alleged to have abused MCAs on 12 December 2022 by calling them foxes. Further, about 300 public participants presented written memoranda in support of the motion to impeach the governor. 2. Views of the members of public opposing the motion to impeach the governor of Meru County, the Honorable Kawira Mwangaza. These are the reasons the members of public who are opposing the motion give. The alleged impeachment of the governor of Meru is mainly borders on claims of nepotism, irregular recruitment, failure to protect public interest, and conflict of interest. The alleged aforementioned claims were reported to EACC, which is the investigating body, not the MCAs. That a determination is yet to be made by the information body. That some claimants in the impeachment motion are under investigation. That the proposed impeachment motion was brought early, and the governor should be given more time to establish plans to develop Meru County. That the alleged grounds cited in the impeachment motion are not cited anywhere in law. That the alleged grounds cited in the impeachment motion have no basis. That the governor is development oriented and the impeachment motion is biased and based on malice. That the governor, MCAs, and other leaders have not allegedly exhausted all forms of alternative dispute resolution mechanism to resolve their differences. That the governor is allegedly being impeached for being a woman in leadership as the governor of Meru County, as the governor of county government of Meru. On or about 30 residents of different sub-counties presented written memoranda to oppose the impeachment of the governor. Mr. Speaker, in a nutshell, it was observed that the principles and the key parameters necessary to conduct a public participation were met in the public participation exercise conducted at the sub-county level in Meru County. However, these are the findings of the public participation process in different sub-counties. Some members of the public stated their views in written memoranda and did not sign the memoranda. It's something we have seen. Some sub-counties conducting public participation faced challenges such as chaos, residents interrupting the public participation process and harassing the county assembly officers. In all sub-counties, residents gave their views in support or against the impeachment motion. That in Tigania Central Sub-County, the public participation process was to take place at Kivucha Methodist Church. However, The process did not take place in the same premises as the Reverend Daniel Mideka declined to allow the public participation process to take place in the church. The Reverend states that he was not consulted and he could not allow a political process to take place in the church. That the officers of the assembly moved to Kegosa Chief's camp where submissions and registration went smoothly until the process was interrupted. Thereafter, the police officers restored order and the public participation process resumed and ended seamlessly. In Egembe South Sub-County, the public participation process was interrupted abruptly by youths chanting slogans in favor of the governor. This led to police officers using tear gas to control the residents. Thereafter, the process proceeded to the end without any interruptions. That in Impeachment North Sub-County, officers from the county assembly were blocked out of Kanjuri Center. As a result, the officers were forced to break into the hall. Thereafter, there was around the youth that interrupted the participation process severally. Officers of the county assembly were harassed and objects such as eggs thrown at them by around the youth chanting "Mama, Mama" slogans. The officers managed to restart the meeting several times and finally, it was not conducive to proceed with the public participation exercise. Around the youth refused to sign their attendance sheets and some youth attempted to tear the attendance sheets. However, some views and memoranda were collected by officers of the county assembly from the venue. In Mutwete Sub-County, the public participation went smoothly and there were no distractions at all. In Tigani Sub-County, two opposing groups and altercations for like 20 minutes. Later, the exercise resumed and the process went out smoothly. In Egembe East Sub-County, the public participation exercise went smoothly and there were no distractions. In Kwene Sub-County, the public participation process went on smoothly until it was interrupted by Nick Mburugo and his supporters. However, the process was restored by police officers and the process proceeded peacefully, successfully. In Bohori West Sub-County, the public participation process was going smoothly until the first speaker took the floor. Visibly drunk goons hijacked the meeting chanting "Mama, Mama" slogans. Interestingly, the area-owned administrator mobilized residents to interrupt the public participation process and declined to sign the attendance sheet. Instead, the owned administrator mobilized some residents to sign an independent attendance sheet and presented it to the officers of the Meru County Assembly at the premises. Nevertheless, officers of the County Assembly of Meru managed to collect views and memoranda despite the chaotic nature of the meeting. In Impeachment Central Sub-County, the public participation process began smoothly and there were a few disruptions. By around the ground led by someone in quotes Supo Meru, who successfully tried to disrupt the process. The crowd snatched one signing sheet and teared it. Additionally, the crowd snatched and stole a mobile device in one of the officers of the county assembly, from one of the officers of the county assembly, facilitating the public participation process. Thereafter, the officers left the premises for a while and restarted the process, which was usually uninterrupted. However, the officers managed to obtain some written memoranda, the opinions of residents who are willing to give their opinions. The security team did not put in any efforts to restore the public participation process, and the officers of the county assembly took shelter at the MCA's office. In Tigana West Sub-County, the public participation process was smooth without any interruption and maximum cooperation by residents. In Egembe Central, the public participation process took place smoothly without interruptions from residents. Instead, the residents cooperated and gave their views. In Impeachment East Sub-County, the process began smoothly and the officers of the assembly began registering members of the public. A changed youth group disrupted the meeting by snatching attendance registration forms and written submissions. Conclusively, the process restarted again and was completed successfully. In Egoji Sub-County, the public participation process began smoothly before it was disrupted by residents chanting "Mama, Mama" slogans. According to the residents, the attendance sign list meant that they supported the impeachment motion. The residents later demanded to be given the list, but the policemen escorted the officers to hide the same list at the police station. The crowd was calmed down by the area MCAs, and the process of the willing residents to give their views and memoranda proceeded successfully. In Egembe North Sub-County, the public participation process was conducted smoothly without any disruptions, and the residents were very cooperative. In Abogeta, the process began smoothly, and in a short while, some residents grabbed the signing sheets and teared them. Additionally, there were two dissenting groups shouting against each other. Later on, some members of the public gave their views and memoranda to officers of the county assembly. Usefully, in Boweri sub-county, the process began smoothly until it was injury interrupted by some residents. There was a lot of heckling, which forced the secretariat of the county assembly of Meru to call for additional security. The security personnel were able to calm the residents, and the public participation process resumed smoothly. Mr. Speaker, the mover of this motion, I, Dennis Kiogora, DMK, is particularly grateful to the offices of the Speaker, the Clerk of the County Assembly of Meru, and members of the Assembly staff, and members of the public for facilitating the public participation exercise. Mr. Speaker, as I close this motion, moving this motion, Mr. Speaker, I urge this Honorable House to interrogate the contents of the motion, Mr. Speaker, the attached evidence, and even the feelings of the members of the public, even those who are opposing the motion, Mr. Speaker, from the public, and hold the Governor of Meru County to account, Mr. Speaker, for the wrongs she has committed, Mr. Speaker, while in office, Mr. Speaker, which are not about to stop, Mr. Speaker, because even the members of the public themselves, through the public participation, have brought to the attention of this House some occurrences that are taking place even as the impeachment goes on, and the carefree attitude and the insults that the Governor is still hurling at this House even as this process continues. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move this motion and invite the Honourable Member for Kibiricha Ward, Jacob Muirigi, to second the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Dennis Kiogora, for moving the motion. Now it's the chance for Honorable Jacob Muirigi, MCA Kibiricha. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For record purposes, my name is Jacob Muirigi. I'm the MCA for Kibiricha Ward. Mr. Speaker, before I give my contribution, allow me to appreciate the Honorable Dennis Kiogora for appropriately moving the impeachment motion. And Mr. Speaker, it is important we are proud as a House, because we realize, Mr. Speaker, we have a responsibility in this House whereby we are required to defend the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our Constitution gives or says the sovereign power belongs to the people. And this power may be exercised either directly or indirect through elected leaders. Mr. Speaker, we are elected leaders, and therefore we have the responsibility to defend the Constitution and also to act towards the wishes of our people. Mr. Speaker, this Honorable House has a constitutional mandate to see to it that the Constitution is really, the Constitution and other laws of the land are adhered to. In this respect, Mr. Speaker, one of our responsibilities is Mr. Speaker, to oversight what the executive does. And in this case, Mr. Speaker, the governor in question, the one Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, has really defined the Constitution and other laws of this land. Mr. Speaker, we have a duty to pray as as a house, and we can't sit, Mr. Speaker, and watch the governor act or do all irregularities that are going on. There are a lot of irregularities, Mr. Speaker. The image of this county, Mr. Speaker, has been totally distorted. We have a duty, Mr. Speaker, to redeem Meru County. Mr. Speaker, there is no sanity in this county. Mr. Speaker, we have a duty to restore sanity in Meru County. This county government, Mr. Speaker, and the people of Meru are in the hands of a dictator governor, Mr. Speaker. We have, Mr. Speaker, to restore the profession, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the move of the motion has been quite elaborate on the accounts that, Mr. Speaker, which he has really done a strong case. Therefore, I will take a few issues in support as I second, Mr. Speaker. And my first issue, Mr. Speaker, I will refer to the dismissal of the CEO of the County Revenue Board. Mr. Speaker, there are laws that govern each and every office, Mr. Speaker. In this case, Mr. Speaker, the chief executive was in office until when Her Excellency the Governor dismissed him. This was out of revenge, Mr. Speaker. You will recall, during 2 years ago, Mr. Speaker, when the same officer was discharging his official duties, Mr. Speaker. At one time, he had to visit Baita TV to demand for the license payment, Mr. Speaker, which never happened. Mr. Speaker, immediately after assuming office, the governor, one Kaura Mwangaza, went ahead and dismissed the one honorable Dr. Tungai for actually demanding the license. So the governor used her office and powers that are in the governor's office to revenge against an officer who was in his line of duty. That is misuse of office, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there are several cases, Mr. Speaker, which has been cited by Honorable Kingora, and also the issue of nepotism. You will recall, Mr. Speaker, recently, and that was 4th last month, we were invited to the Office of Controller of Budgets. Mr. Speaker, this Honorable House was represented by a very able team led by yourself, the Majority Leader, the clerk of this assembly, the budget officer, and myself, Mr. Speaker, the chair for Budget and Appropriations Committee. The other side, Mr. Speaker, was represented by Her Excellency the Governor, the newly recruited CEC, the Chief Officer, and 2 sisters to the Governor, Mr. Speaker, who are in the boardroom negotiating on behalf of Meru County. Nepotism, Mr. Speaker. Nepotism, Mr. Speaker. How can their sisters sit in a boardroom negotiating on behalf of a county government? Mr. Speaker, that can't be allowed to happen. And Mr. Speaker, it is not right. A lot of irregularities, Mr. Speaker, are going on, and our governor has really proved that she cannot abide by the law. She is out to break every law. This Honorable House has enacted several laws, but the governor is acting to the contrary. None of the existing laws she seems to abide to. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, without using a lot of time, I second the motion that seeks the removal of Governor Bishop Kawira Mwangasa. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Jacob Mwirigi, for seconding the motion. And now, honourable members, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 54-1, I now propose the question which says, whereas Article 10 of the Constitution, Section 3 and 16 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, the Leadership and Integrity Act, and Section 9, 10 and 11 of the Public Office Ethics Act 2003, the Public Officer Ethics Act established, among others, the rule of law, democracy, human rights, dignity, courtesy, respect, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, poverty, professionalism, non-discrimination, protection of the marginalized, good governance, transparency, and accountability as part of the national values and the principles of governance. Article 10, 73 and 75 of the Constitution requires state officers at all times, whether in public or private life, to behave in a manner that, among other things, 1, brings honor to the nation and dignity to the office that a state officer owns. Ensure decisions are not influenced by nepotism, favoritism, and other improper motives. 3, demonstrate discipline and commitment in service to the people and avoids demeaning the office that a state officer owns. Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution and Section 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Government Act 2012, the County Government Act, provide for the values and the principles of public service and establish an elaborate framework for the establishment of county public offices and the recruitment, employment, and dismissal of county public officers. Honour members, Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Government Act, and the Standing Order number 65 of the Standing Orders of the Assembly, provide for the impeachment of county governors for, among other things, gross violation of the Constitution, 2, gross violation of any other law, 3, abuse of office, and 4, gross misconduct. The governor has engaged in multiple discreditable acts. The discreditable acts that severally and collectively amount to gross violation of the Constitution, 2, gross violation of various national and county laws, and 3, abuse of office, and 5, gross misconduct. The discreditable acts have exposed the office of the governor, the assembly, and the leadership, and the people of Meru County, the county, to national shame, embarrassment, ridicule, and disrepute. The discreditable acts have created a toxic environment which the governor cannot be legitimately expected or relied upon to work harmoniously with the staff and elected leaders at the national and the county levels of government, and the governor's continued stay in office under the prevailing toxic environment will negatively undermine effective and efficient service delivery and thus hurt the interests of the people of the county. The Assembly resolves to impeach the governor, and Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Government Act, and Standing Order 65 of the Standing Orders of the Assembly on the following grounds: nepotism, illegal appointments, and of dismissals, and assumption of the constitutional and statutory functions of county organs. Appointment of husband to county office. On or around the 30th September 2022, the governor engaged in 1. Gross misconduct, 2. Grossly violating Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, 3. Grossly violating Section 17 of the Public Officer Ethics, and 5 and 4. Grossly violating Section 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Government Act. 5. Grossly violating Section 6 and 11 of the Meru County Youth Service Act 2018 and grossly violating Section 4 of the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approval Act 2017 by A. Appointing a husband to an non-existent position of the patron of the Meru Youth Service before conducting a transparent and competitive recruitment service. B. Appointing a husband to the non-existent position of the Meru Asras ambassador before conducting a transparent and competitive recruitment process. 3. Disregarding the criteria for the establishment of offices within the county public service. D. Failing to submit a husband's name for approval by the assembly before making the impassioned appointments. E. The appointing Rufus Meliti as the county secretary without the approval of the assembly. F. Appointing the foreign and qualified persons to hold county offices without undertaking a transparent and competitive recruitment process. 1. Monenda Samaritan as Director, Special Programs. 2. Ernest Mutembei, Director, Monitoring and Evaluation. 3. Henry Mzungu as Director of Administration, and Hilary Sandi as Director of Communication. G. Usurping or thrashing the constitutional and statutory functions of 1. The Assembly. 2. The Meru County Public Service Board. And 3. The Meru County Youth Service Board. Evidence of the governance: 1. Gross misconduct. 2. Gross violation of Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution. 3. Gross violation of Section 17 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 4. Gross violation of Sections 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Government Act. And 5. Gross violation of Section 6 and 11 of the Meru County Youth Service Act 2018 and gross violation of Section 4 of the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approval Act 2017 is set in the video saved as Annex 2. Appointment of husband, Annex 3. Appointment of first merit, Annex 4. Appointment of the Sandi in the first list presented herewith. The transcripts, translations of these videos are attached to Annex 2, Annex 3, Annex 4 to the affidavit sworn by Dennis Keura DMK on 21st November 2022 in support of this motion. The affidavits in support of the motion. Further evidence is in the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission data dated the 19th of October 2022 and a screenshot from the governor's Facebook page, respectively attached as Annex 5 and Annex 5A to the affidavit in support of the motion. Road child appointments of county workers at Timau. On or around 22nd September 2022, the governor grossly violated 1. Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution. 2. Grossly violated Section 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Government Act by A. Appointing firefighters at a public gallery at Meru in misguided and sustainable popularism before conducting a transparent and a competitive recruitment process. B, subjecting potential applicants for county jobs to public humiliation by converting the crowd at the public rally as the advertising, recruiting, shortlisting, and appointing authority, and usurping and trashing exclusive constitutional and statutory mandates and the functions of the Meru County Public Service Board. Evidence of the governor: 1. Gross violation of Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and 2. Gross violation of Section 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Government Act is set in the video, saved as Annex 6 in the first list, and presented herewith. The transcript translation of the video is attached to Annex 6A to the affidavit to the motion. Board signed the appointment of county workers at Nkobo. On around 9 September 2022, the governor engaged: 1. Gross misconduct; 2. Gross violation of Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and 3. Gross violation of Sections 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Government Act by A. Appointing the market guns at a public rally at Nkobo, misguided and unsustainable populism before conducting a transparent and competitive recruitment process, and B. Usurping exclusive, constitutional and statutory functions and mandates of the Meru County Public Service Board. Evidence of the governor: 1. Gross misconduct; gross violation of Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and 3. Gross violation of Section 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Government Act is set in the video, saved as Annex 7 in the first league. This presented herewith. The transcript, translation of the video is attached as Annex 7A to the affidavit in support of the motion. Road signed appointment of county workers at Kianjai. On or allowed 9 September 2022, the governor engaged in: 1. Gross misconduct; 2. Gross violation of Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and 3. Gross violation of Section 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Government Act by A. Illegally directing warrant and sub-county administrators to employ sweepers and market guns at a public rally at Kianjai. Misguided and unsustainable populism before conducting a transparent and competitive recruitment process, and B. Directing warrant and sub-county administrators to usurp exclusive constitutional and statutory functions and mandates of the Meru County Public Service Board. Evidence of the governors: 1. Gross misconduct; 2. Gross violation of Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and 3. Gross violation of Section 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Government Act is set in the video and saved as Annex 8 in the first list. Presented herewith. The transcript, translation of the video is attached as Annex 8 to the affidavit in support of the motion. Illegal Committee on the Meru Municipality. On around 21st October 2022, the governor: 1. Grossly violated Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution. 2. Grossly violated Section 12, 14, 15, and 20 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, and 3. Grossly violated the charter establishing the Meru Municipality by A. Illegally appointing a committee to manage Meru Municipality affairs at a public area at Kinoru, yet the function is vacant in the Meru Municipal Board. 2. directing the aforesaid illegal committee to usurp the functions of the Meru Municipal Board. C. Usurping the functions of the Meru County Public Service Board. D. Trashing the procedures for the appointment of county public officers. And E. Spewing hate speech against the G4S company. Evidence of the governor: 1. Gross violation of Article 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and gross violation of Section 12, 14, 15, and 20 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act is set in the video saved as Annex 9 in the first disc. Presented herewith, a transcript stroke translation of the video is attached as Annex 9A to the affidavit in support of the motion. Incitement, bullying, verification, and misleading campaigns against other leaders. The governor has grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Grossly violated Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4. Repeatedly engaged in gross misconduct by A. Holding public verification, incitement, and intimidation rallies against members of the Assembly and other elected leaders. B. Falsely accusing members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. C. Holding public verification and incitement rallies against the Catholic Church and the Catholic clergy. And D. Inciting the public against the members of the Assembly and other elected leaders, well knowing that church conduct can easily trigger violent reactions and pose serious breaches of the peace. Evidence of specific illustrative examples of the governor's verification and incitement campaigns against members of the Assembly and other elected leaders are tried in paragraph 7 to 12 below. Humiliation of the minority leader. On or around 24th October 2022, the governor 1. Grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Grossly violated Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4. Engaged in gross misconduct by A. Bullying and inciting the public against the minority leader and the member of Assembly for Wakili 1 under Mwende Idiri, the minority leader at a public rally held at Mweronkanga. B. Requiring the minority leader to make public apology for unknown and disclosed wrongs at the public rally held at Mweronkanga. C. Violently grabbing microphone from the minority leader at the public rally held at Mweronkanga. D. Offering to protect the minority leader against the Speaker of the Assembly from unknown and undisclosed dangers. And E. Falsely accusing the members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. Evidence of the governors. 1. Gross violation of Article 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Gross violation of Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Gross violation of Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4. Gross misconduct is set in the video as Annex 11 in the first disc and presented herewith. The transcription stroke translation of the videos is attached as Annex 11A to the affidavit in support of the motion. Verification of the minority chief whip and other leaders. On or around 25th October 2022, the governor 1. Grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Grossly violated Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4. Engaged in gross misconduct by A. Inciting the public against the minority whip and the member of the Assembly for Avogeta West, Honorable Dennis Kiogurandi MK, the minority whip, at a public hearing at Ngongo in Avogeta West. 1. B. Falsely accusing the minority whip of stoning R, and C. Falsely accusing the members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. Evidence of the governor. Evidence of the governors. 1. Gross violation of Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Gross violation of Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Gross violation of Section 29 and 34 of Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4. Gross misconduct is set in the video saved as Annex 12 in the first list, presented herewith. The transcription stroke translation of the video is attached as Annex 12A, the affidavit in support of the motion. Verification of the Senate of Meru County. On or around 12th September 2022, the governor, 1. Grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Grossly violated Section 29 and 4 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4. Engaged in gross misconduct by A. Inciting the public against the Senator of Meru County, Honorable Kaduri Murongi, at a public rally held at Lare in Tunene Ward. B. Falsely accused the Senator of demanding a share of county government appointments. C. Falsely accusing the Senator of antagonizing and creating a wedge between the governor and the President of the Republic of Kenya. And D. Falsely accusing the Senator of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. Evidence. 1. Gross violation of Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Gross violation of Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Gross violation of Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4. Gross misconduct is set in the video saved as Annex 13 in the first list, presented herewith. A transcript of translation of the video is attached as Annex 13A to the affidavit supporting the motion. Verification of the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture. On or around 12 September 2022, the Governor 1. Grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Grossly violated Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4. Engaged in gross misconduct by A. Bullying and inciting the public against the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, Honorable Franklin Medikarintori, at a public rally held at Lare in Tunene Ward. B. Falsely accusing the Cabinet Secretary of demanding a share of the county government appointment. C. Falsely accusing the Cabinet Secretary of antagonizing and creating a wedge between her and the President of the Republic of Kenya. And D. Falsely accusing the Cabinet Secretary of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. Evidence. 1. Gross violation of Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Gross violation of Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Gross violation of Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And 4. Gross misconduct is set in the video saved as Annex 13 in the first disc, presented herewith. A transcript stroke translation of the video is attached to Annex 13A to the affidavit supporting the motion. Verification of the MP for Tigania East constituency. On or around the 9th November 2022, the Governor and the husband 1. Grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Grossly violating Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Grossly violating Section 2934 of the Leadership Integrity Act. And 4. Engaged in gross misconduct by A. Inciting the public against the member of Parliament for Tigani East constituency, Honorable Mpuri Aburi, at a public rally at Mbaranga in Karama Ward. B. Falsely accusing the MP for Tigania of demanding that the governor appoint the MP's wife as a county executive committee member. C. Falsely accusing the MP for Tigania East of demanding that the governors pre-qualifies is 12 companies for the award of county tenders. D. Falsely accusing the MP for Tigani East of presenting fake use for payment by the county government. And E. Falsely accusing the MP for Tigania East of cartelism, bracking, greed, corruption, and intimidation. Evidence. One, gross violation of Articles 10, 73, 75 of the Constitution. 2, gross violation of Sections 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3, gross violation of Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership Integrity Act. And 4, gross misconduct is set in the video saved as Annex 14 in the first disc presented herewith. The transcript or translation of the video is attached as Annex 14A to the affidavit in support of the motion. Verification of the Catholic Church and clergy. On or around 17th October 2022, the governor 1. Grossly violating Articles 10, 73 and 75 of the Constitution. 2. Grossly violating Sections 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. 3. Grossly violating Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership Integrity Act. And 4. Engaged in gross misconduct by A. Inciting the people against the Roman Catholic Church and the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Meru, Mr. Salesius Mugambi, at a public rally held at the former Igoji Boys Secondary School. B. Falsely accusing the Catholic Church of grabbing public land. C. Falsely accusing the Catholic Church of Catholicism, bracking, greed, corruption, and intimidation. D. Conducting a mock public prayer to demean and humiliate the Catholic Church and the Catholic clergy. And E. Inciting the public against religious leaders while knowing that church conduct can easily trigger violent reactions and pose a serious breach of the peace. Evidence of the governors. A. Gross violation of Articles 10, 73, 75 of the Constitution. And 2. Gross violation of Section 19 of the Public Officers Ethics Act. 3. Gross violation of Section 39 and 34 of the Leadership Integrity Act. And 4. Gross misconduct is set in the video saved as Annex 15 in the first disc presented herewith. The transcript translation of the video is attached as Annex 15A to the affidavit in support of the motion. First entry into the assembly, presence, and the mobilization unlawful riot against members of the assembly. On or around 19th October 2022, the governor and her husband, 1. grossly violated Article 10, 73 and 75 of the Constitution. 2. grossly violated sections 5 and 7 of the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017. And 3. engaged in gross misconduct by A. forcefully entering the premises of the Assembly. B. falsely accusing members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. C. organizing a violent demonstration against the members of the Assembly at the Assembly present. And D. addressing a riotous crowd at the presence of the Assembly. Evidence of the governor and the husband. 1. gross violation of Articles 10, 73 and 75 of the Constitution. 2. gross violation of Section 5 and 7 of the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017. And 3. gross misconduct is set in the videos saved as Annex 16 and Annex 17 in the first bit presented herewith. The transcripts to translation of the videos are attached as Annex 16A and Annex 17A. The affidavit in support of the motion. Violation of public finance management laws. On 6 September 2022, the governor 1. grossly violated Articles 201 and 207 1 of the Constitution. 2. grossly violated Section 109, 2 and 159 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. 3. grossly violated Section 12 and 24 of the Public Officers Ethics Act. 4. grossly violated Section 16 and 35 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. 4. engaged in gross misconduct. And 6. engaged in gross abuse of office by A. directing the Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital to spend all revenue at source, whereas all monies raised or received by all on behalf of the county should be paid into the county revenue fund. 2. issuing waivers on fees at the Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital, whereas the county executive committee member for finance is the only person legally empowered to grant church waivers and is seen directing county government officers to participate in furthering and advocating the interest of the Vita TV, a media station owned by Mwangasa and Bethesda Limited, a private company owned by the governor through our close relatives as proxies. Evidence of the governors. 1. gross violation of Articles 201 and 207 of the Constitution. 2. gross violation of Section 109, 2 and 159 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. 3. gross violation of Section 12 and 24 of the Public Officers Ethics Act. 4. gross violation of Section 16 and 35 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. 5. gross misconduct. And 6. gross abuse of the office is set in the video saved as Annex 18 in the first list presented here with a transcript translation of the video is attached as Annex 18A to the affidavit supporting the motion. Further evidence is the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission data dated 19th October 2022